Hello, welcome to live coding with Gerph. We are going to be looking at the window manager and it's text rendering today. And hopefully it will be a relatively easy day where we will be just copying some code and then making it work. I mean, probably it won't be because things are always more complicated, but what are we doing? So we're looking at the text rendering in the window manager. So here we are. This is the document that we've got that describes what we are trying to do. And this is here. And this tells us we're a good chunk of the way through the functionality. We've not got this. Oh, we have done the swis actually. We implemented one of the swi calls last time. Did I add that? Is it actually update it? No, I didn't add it to the status. Well, we'll do that later. So we've got text rendering, sizing, coloring. We're using the system font. That means that the up, down, left, right arrows should be working properly. We're dealing with the Wimp font variables. System font fallback when the regular font, the outline font doesn't work, is now done. And that works with scaling as well. Default font coming from NVRAM, that's so you can configure the system. The bits we are missing now is truncating back with ellipsis, reading the split point, and then we've got some swis to implement. And actually we've nearly implemented this. I mean, it was thrown together like in about 20 minutes last week. So it's a little bit ropey, but it's not too bad. So we've got bits of this working. Got a couple of other ones here that just need updating, but that's probably not too hard. And then we'll be good. So let's have a look at what we've got. So for anybody who wants to follow along, this is the repository we're using. You can have a look at that and see what exciting and thrilling things you're wanting to do. Not only is there obviously the code here, we've got actions available which show us what our tests were doing and how they were working. So we've got tests in here that show that we can build it. We can also do a release. We haven't done a release yet. That's interesting. Yeah, we should probably do a release as well because I think we're at the point where it's actually the test module is able to be tested and people can see what's going on. That's not the one I wanted to expand, this one here. So if we look here, you can see it builds stuff, runs the tests, and then we do some quick checks to see what is going on. Actually, that looks like debug code, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, that looks like debug code's been left in. We'll have to have a look at that. So let's start out by finding the code that we're going to use. So if we have a look over here, this is the window manager source code. This is the original one that I was working on some years ago. And one of the things we've got in here is text op. So this is decoding of text ops. And it looks like basically we've done a bunch of this work. So we've got a couple of calls here that handle the scan string calls. A convert os call, which I don't think I'm using in things. Font change, now that's important. So that's when the font has changed, we need to pass things on to other parts of the system. But importantly here we're caching the size of the ellipsis character. Actually we're caching the size of ... rather than ellipsis character because you can't guarantee where that is in the current font. And then yeah, actually this will become a lot simpler because we'll be able to call our internal calls for this. In fact, all of this we can call the internal calls for this. This will be quite easy. Yeah, we also have to have the text direction. Yeah, we're not handling text direction at the moment. Not handling text direction. Yeah, we probably should do that. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to put that into the notes for the things we should do, and then we'll do it some other time because I think that's a little bit more involved and I'm not sure I want to get into it in this particular, either this session or this part of the project. So I'm going to put this in handling right to left, handle right to left text. because that's probably not going to get done this time round. Yeah, so there we go. So that's now, when we'll push that later, but at least I've made a note that we need to do it. Okay, so where was that code? So this was, yeah, we were on the font change. This is what happens when the font's changed. This is the reading split points interface, which is relatively simple. And this is truncation with ellipsis, which is not actually that bad, it looks like. Doesn't look too terrible. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for those implementations. Mostly I think we'll be lifting this and then just replacing the internal calls with some of our own. But let's have a see then, shall we? So what's the best way of doing this? So we've got a text render routine here that actually has most of the actual implementation in. This has got the text render, set font, set colors, paint. So this is actually the text rendering interface. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Because the text rendering interface and the text op interface are actually different. So if we have a look in the module, we've actually got this render text and text width are actually two separate calls here. If we move these out into a text op routine, like we've got here, where we've got text op truncate with ellipsis is actually all the parameters being passed in, that'll make it a bit easier for us to integrate in the future. So yeah, hopefully we'll Dave's just mentioned about one of the people who was writing Hebrew on Riscos by manually positioning in between each character. That's unfun. Yeah, I genuinely have no idea how well the right to left text actually works, or for that matter vertical writing text. I just don't know. That's almost certainly a question for people who know font systems and languages much better than I. So that may be something that somebody else can look at and look at my code and go, yeah, that's not going to work. We'll change it to do this. So that will be something in the future for somebody who's clever. Yeah, because of course, if we did that, we'd need all of the font rendering that was done in system font would have to be actually positioned. Oh, maybe it wouldn't. No, because there's a VDU call that actually says what order, the text ordering is. Ooh, that could be quite fun. That's a problem for another day. You also have to do shaping and reordering. Oh, of course. Yes, because when you're joining things, it has to be done differently as well, doesn't it? And oh, yeah. Yeah, this is why it's better for somebody else who knows this stuff better than I do. I mean, Dave Spanners has spent far more time working with font systems than I have, so at least knows a world of that pain. So this is all very, very simple code we've got here. It's handling left to right, top to bottom text, which is good because we can say that that's probably our main audience. And largely, I don't deal with many of the things that are for much wider audiences than that, because you can very rapidly get stuck in the weeds, and I am just not good enough at doing that, so I don't tend to bother. But yeah, let's see what we can actually do here, shall we? Okay. Hang on a second, I'll just get myself. So this is me. This is the window manager thing, and what I was, since I'm being distracted, just very, very slightly, there's another module I've just added to this being Sublime Text, which does change of views. It does. I can't see it in the menu. Sorry, you don't get the menus on here because I put them on a different screen and I can't mix them. No, it's not actually in the menu, it doesn't look like. How very odd. Okay, well, we'll do it from the palette then. Markdown, table of contents. There we go. So this is a table of contents module that I've just added. So it gives me a little table here and I can jump to each bit, which is quite cute. I've only just tried it out and I think that's pretty nice. I'm quite liking the fact that I can now more quickly jump to things. Yeah, like that. So nothing to do with the coding of Riscos. This is more that I'm learning things about editors and the ways of working that help. I really do like that, actually. That's quite nice. Okay. However, that is a problem for another time because we're trying to do lifting this code. So actually no, what I said what I was going to do was I'm going to split out the text-op code so we actually have a text-op module. In fact, there's a text-op library here. Yeah, so not library, header. So that's pretty good. Let's have a new file here called text-op. So this is going to actually be the implementation of text-op calls. That's a file text-op implementation of the Wimp text-op calls. And this is distinct from the text rendering interface because the text rendering interface could do more of what we're actually trying to do here that's necessary for different parts of the system. But it may also be doing less because the text-op interface may just have more rich calls like render with ellipsis. Right, here we go. So hash include text-op.h. So I'll get us most things. We also need to pull in the text render interface, don't we? Because that's where we're going to be getting all of our info from. So text render, not text render, sorry, text-op. No, I want to do a module, don't I? Because I want to lift this code. So what we want to do here is we want to, no, these are actually going to be really simple implementations, to be perfectly honest, because what we're going to do is we're going to lift this tiny section here and just put it there. Oh well. What we're going to have here is equals text render string text op, sorry, string width, passing in the text render block and the text we're trying to use and the max, because that's the interface and that's the implementation we're going to end up with. Oh, actually no, it's not, isn't it? Because we want to have a return of the width as well, so that we can actually write it into the right register. There we go. Yeah, that feels a little bit redundant. However, it means that this entire section of code here is going to be module facing, sort of outside, and then everything else will be internal, and we can actually use it more readily internally as well. So I think it's probably the right choice. Probably. In fact, I think this is the same way I did it in the templates, isn't it? Is that right? /templates, Wimp templates, there we go. Have a look in here. Templates, no, that's actually the internal interface. No, it looks like this is actually interfaced by replacing the individual SWIs. I don't think that's... Maybe that is the way I should do it. Maybe I should do it that way by having the SWI call. No, because this is a multi-op call, isn't it? Meh, doesn't matter. Well, that may have been the way it was done before. I can always rework it, or somebody else can rework it. It's not like it's going to really matter. String width. So we take a text render t render. We take a const char star message and a int max, and that's the entire interface there, isn't it? so internal false error. Oh, sorry, no, and then ampersand width. Apologies. Not ampersand width, sorry, no, wrong language. Int star width. Width p even, shouldn't it be? Width p equals that. Return null. Wow, that's almost entirely redundant, but this will make much more sense when we've got more of them. String width. Wimp underscore text op 1 implementation. To render text rendering stuff. Context, that's what I wanted. Message equals point to the text to render. Max equals the limit, or what is it? What is the interface actually? 0 for the whole string. Enter to error block, or null. Oops, null if width p, where to store the width of the string. There we go. Right, so now we've got that. That one is now implemented there. We've got another call here that I missed, which is the set text color, which is even easier. That's fine. It's not like we're oops, not like we're really all that worried about these things. So these are uint 30. Oh, hang on, no, they're color T's, aren't they? We have a color T, don't we? A color T, FG equals R1. Color T, and we have a background as well. And we notice here that the parameters are back to front, which is always a bit fun. And then we do equals text op set text color for the T render. We'll pass them in the right order, and then these, when we use them, will go into the other order. I mean, it's possible that these should be reversed, but background comma foreground kind of makes sense as well. They make just as much sense either way round, so I'm not going to get stressed on it. Return. Oh no, I don't need to do anything there. Let me just clear that. There we are. Pop back into here. Os error star text op set colors. So this is exactly the case where having a color T, having a, hang on, which way around are we passing them in? We're passing them in foreground, background. Having a refactor code action would actually be useful, where you could just select that code and say refactor this bit into a new function, and that's something that is done by many of the different LSPs, but I haven't yet got into the habit of trying to, well, not into habit, but into the experience of actually trying these things out. Would be quite useful. Set the colors used for the main text. So that's not how I've written it here. Of reading string width. Text op 0 implementation of setting colors used for the main text context. Okay, well, fine, that's fine. T render. Oh. Pick that up because I'm lazy. fg equals foreground color as g equals background color as. Okay. And again we return null here. I mean, arguably we should actually be returning the result from the color trans set call, but we're not getting that back, and I'm not sure I care. I should, but it's not. We could rework the code to allow these things through in the future. It's not a huge deal. Right, let's pick up these two functions and put them into the header. No, missed it. There we go. And the same goes here. Ta-da! Right, so that's got us those two. Next one then is plot text, which we'll just lift from in here. There's text width. This is render text. Now this does pass in some flags, so we'll just pass those in raw as we would normally do. So again, text op underscore render text, and we pass in trender as usual. We pass in the flags this time, and then the message, and then x and y. We're not going to bother passing in R2 and R3, although it says they must be -1. That was a kind of an implementation detail from the internals of the old text op interface. I suspect what actually happened was they realized that oops, we forgot to set that, or you might want to use that, so let's just force them to be this, and then we can deal with it later. Yeah, and then it was never actually implemented as a limit or anything like that. And because most people probably don't actually require that it's set to -1, it will probably not work. So render text, this is to implementation for writing text. Okay, we've got render text, got flags first, equals the rendering flags for the style to render with. Message is the text to render. Oh, that's wrong, isn't it? Because that's to size, isn't it? Which means it's also wrong in the header. There we go. The downside with having these this code having to be the same style to render with, text to render. We don't have a max on this. We don't have a max on this actually, do we? Nope, there's no limit set on this. Is that because I've not got the full interface? Because this is actually not the full interface. If you look here, we've got bit 30 and 31. There's actually a couple of other flags in there. So if you look here, we've got these vertical center, style, and return bounding box. Oh, return bounding box is actually for this is Wimp text op 2, okay, render, and this one is for, I think this is get split point, which I think is 3. I can think it's 3. It's right in front of me. No need for the error. Oh, okay, I'll look at that one in a second. So that'll be in the module code here, line 120. I might have already fixed it, of course. Oh, you're right. There we go. Yep. Thank you very much. All nice. Yep. So that tells me what we've got there. We'll go back into the text up here. This is the render text. There is no max, but there is an x and a y. X, y equals where to render in os units, and that's it, I think, isn't it? Let me go back to the, maybe I should have just copied the call flags message XY. There we go. Flags. Int 32t flags message int X int Y. So our implementation at the moment, as you can see, is not to do very much, but we do have a not implemented, which means we need to include the module header, which I can't type. Mod head.h. There we go. Right, so that's all the implementation we currently have. They're all correctly implemented, hopefully. So let's just build that to make sure. This is where we find it doesn't actually work. Oh, it won't work because I haven't actually included the TextOp function. TextOp wasn't included in that. Oh, that's not building the module. That's building the non-module code. -f module. There we go. Let's build that. That's more like what I was expecting. Oh dear, there's lots of problems with that. Here's TextOp line 36. Text render is not being passed in, so that probably means I need to include this text render header here. Yeah, I do. Okay, that's fine. That's much better. TextOp set text color. Called it set colors. All right, we'll change it to set text. What's the hang on, it was in that file. It was in that file. It's called set text color in here, so we'll call it set text color. Set text color, and then update the implementation as well. There we go. And it was complaining about this width not being set at 118 in module. Oh yeah, we haven't declared an int width in there. That's cool. Yeah, and that's probably good. TextOp render text. Render text. TextOp. Oh, I didn't copy it into the into the header file from implementation. Here we go. There we are. So now we should have that, but it still won't completely compile because we don't have the TextOp code added. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit the file myself. Put it just here. o.textop. There we go. All right. Now implement. Okay, so I forgot to include kernel.h. And then we got this strange error, type disagreement, and then duplicate definition. That's odd, isn't it? Have I made a mess of this? Oh, it's got a type disagreement because it invented it. That's why. Okay, so let's go back into the TextOp and just include kernel.h. Go. Invented. Oh, I need studlib as well. There we go. That's got us null. Should now be happy. Seems good. All right. So pyrodev. Does that look like we're loading a module? We're loading a module. Good. Did we have any test code for this? That took a moment or two to load. That was frustrating. yeah, we've definitely got some of the debug left on here. Right. No, it doesn't look like there's any test code in there. I think I must have been typing them directly. Hourglass testing. Yeah, there's something. Oh, except we were in. Probably need to just go into basic. What we got up here in our history. Render hello world at 640. There we go, hello world. And then if we do star set, font dollar name. No, not a font dollar name, Wimp dollar font. I know what I'm doing. Homerton.medium. Oh, that doesn't change immediately because it only actually changes when you do something. So we just need to rm reinit the module. So Wimp text op, text render. Sorry. There we go. And then draw it. Yeah, there we are. Clear the screen. CLS. There we are. Hello world in Homerton medium. Whew. Well, that was all rather a lot more work than just to move some things around, refactoring stuff. Again, I really probably should learn how to use these refactoring tools. Yeah, we'll look at that later. Add c.textop, and I'll know what I'm doing. Commit -a. All right, this is move the implementation of textop to a library. Separate file, not a library. Without having the module present. So we should be able to also put some tests in place if we wanted that use the actual textop interface without having to write basic and other code in the system. That would be quite useful. Now we can start looking at the actual. Oh, sorry, let me push it so that if anyone wants to have a look at it, they can. I was going to turn off that what do we call it? Debug code as well. I think it's just in here, isn't it? We've got debug. Yeah, we've got debug left on. I'll leave it on for now because actually we might need to put some more debug in there. So now we're lifting the code that we have in this textop interface. So let's see what we can do here. So textop fonts changed is actually an important one here because this is the bit where we basically update our own state. Although it probably won't, if you put it into the text render state, because it's probably going to be needed in the text render interface as well, isn't it? Yeah, I might just put it in there so we actually know how big it's going to be in the text render context. So it's going to be a little bit lower down the system, which is probably a good thing. So we put it into text render here. So there's the init call, read font. This is where the font is changed. So set the font for rendering operations. So this is where we should actually have additional caching. So we cached the font, we've cached the Wimp symbols. So just put this code that we've copied here. So here we're remembering the global direction. Okay, we probably want to actually define that so we know what it is, because that's probably going to matter. So yeah, let's put that into the context as well. So not for the deck. Oh, it's not in here. It's only internal to this. Oh, it's only internal to text render. Interesting. Okay, well that's not too terrible. Actually, although we I'm wondering now whether we should actually have it in here, or it should be a part of the textop system. No, because for example, you could have the point of this text render context is that the font, the symbols, the coloring all could be different in different contexts. So for example, there could be the global context, which is what you get if you call Wimp TextOp, but then there's the Wimp TextOp context that you get if you use it within an application that's been configured differently. And that would be really useful, because then you could have maybe an encoding specified per application, and you could do more things with that. You'd have different colors on there, different fonts for different applications. I'm not saying that's a good idea, it's just you could do that, which also implies that the direction is important. So let's put the direction in here as well. So there's the direction. And we've got to define what a text direction is. So that'll be defined in the header in here, won't it? So grab this. A very simple definition of that. This is the global context that we use in the C code all around. So it's actually not especially. I see you put the ellipsis into there, but it should be within this particular context. Oh no, I put that in the wrong place. It needs to go up here, doesn't it? It's possible I might move this into the G context, because text direction is part of the graphics context, not part of the rendering context here, I think, anyway. But we'll do that later. So that's the text direction. So we need to force that to be set when we render things. So definitely when we init the context, we should set that trender to direction equals text direction left to right. I think that's the TD left to right. Yep, that's correct. Okay, so that's there. So we don't need to update that. If we go back to the implementation in here, oh no, it wasn't in here. It's this bit here, isn't it? We don't need to do that. We're actually going to support ... ellipsis, no special character for now. So in theory, we could change the font there. So we selected a font. Sorry, let me kill that. Comes up every time. Sleep for 2 hours would be good. That's good. Yeah, so that is what was I saying? Sorry. We could actually have a font replacement that actually does swap into another font, or the same font but with the encoding of UTF-8, and then put the ellipsis character in. So then you can actually have ellipsis characters even if the character set didn't actually have one. The encoding didn't have one. We're not doing that right now. That's not a problem. So what we do want to do though is work out what the ellipsis character is. So that's this call, or 3 times system character width, which actually we don't need to do. Ellipsis width is max minus min. Yeah, that sounds sensible. And then we do a convert to os. Now, if I remember rightly, we don't need to do that. We just, because it's already using os coordinates. So I think we're probably okay with that. So let us see what we can do with this. This is almost entirely redundant, I think, because we're going to do a string width call. If we look down here, we've got a get string size. Font changed. Set font. Here we go. So this is how we do get string size, and it's pretty simple, isn't it? We don't really need to do very much. We just return it into a bounding box. Which I forgot to click the copy of the structure. A string bounds, in fact. Fair enough. So string bounds here is, we'll just put it into a separate block. So we've got it nicely scoped. T-render G context. T-render font. Yeah, we've already got the fonts there. This is good. And then the bounding box, a large limit, the text we're trying to do, which in this case is ellipsis string. Ooh, yeah, that doesn't work. String to be. I cannot type string. Oh dear, that's very, very poor. What's that? The length of it. For this one, actually, we can pass in -1 to mean do a strlen. Although we actually know, we know what it is, but there we go. Doesn't matter. And then 0 is that the flags? I think. I need to have a look in the G context. We're having some of this documented would be nice. So what do we do with string width, string size, split character? Yeah, there is no split character here, so 0 will do. All right. Actually, is 0 correct? Must be correct because that's what we're using down below. Right. Okay. So that gets us the bounds, and then we want to write into the bounds, into the string width. So t render. Oops. To ellipsis width equals bounds dot. I don't know what the bound structure is. It's been too long since I've worked with this. Left bearing and right bearing. So it's right bearing minus left bearing, basically. Yeah, that's right. R bearing. R bearing is the right hand limit of the character, and left bearing is the leftmost limit of the character. And I don't think we actually do need to do the minus left bearing, or possibly that might be wrong, but for now it'll do, because we can always work out better logic for it later if it turns out to be not quite right. But I think that's pretty close, and it's what we had originally. If you ever look down here, x max minus x min is what we've used there. And I think the convert os has already been performed. If I just check on implementation in font here, get string size. We look down here, font x to os has already been called, so those have already been operated on, so they're all good. So we don't need to do that, and that means that we're actually done. Oh, except we never ask it to do the left to right. So what I'm going to say here, because this doesn't even have an interface for that, is fix me text direction is not taken account of. I mean, I don't think that'll really matter, but since we're actually just wanting the width here, it doesn't matter whether it's left or right, but I'll just make the note that that's what we had done previously. So that routine is now implemented, and because we're going through the G context, we don't have this special case of handling the ellipse width in there. So there we go, that's that bit done. What's the next bit of the code? Is the get split point interface here. So copy that. And we can start putting that into the text op code. And this will start getting a bit hairy because we've got things at different. Oh, that's the header file, sorry. Implementation, here we are. Doop doop. Right. Oh, we haven't got dprintf in this function, have we? Let's go pinch it from in here. Yep, we've got debug on, that's fine. Debug on there. Okay, spin to the end. Right, this is our implementation. So get split point. We actually want to pass in the t render. I'll say text render. T render. We've got to have that passed into everything. So let's just make sure that that's documented here. String is the string to read the split point of. Width is the size to split at, or 1 shifted left 30 to not split at a width in os units. Oh, not split at a width, comma, in os units. Split character or -1 for none. Why -1? Okay, well it's -1. That is what it is. Right, and in this particular code, we've actually got this implemented a little bit more dumbly here. So if we're doing it with spaces, or with system fonts, we actually step through the code, step through the string. And actually, we shouldn't be doing that, because what we can do is we can just call into the standard routine, and it will get us the split points in the usual way. So that's not too bad. And that simplifies it a lot by us not using the manual determination. Instead, we're not calling scan string, we're going to call the gcontext interface here, aren't we? So gcontext, sorry, the header file I want, gcontext for get string size with split character. Let me just copy that because then I can implement it that way. Not that one. This is it here. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's just calling that. Is there anything special about this? Yes, there's the special of not using the left to right font. So fix me text direction not supported. Probably should put a comment in that in the other functions as well to indicate that we're not supporting them. Does it matter for string width? Yes, it does, because the shaping could affect it. And it does matter for that. So there we go. Yeah, you can't be just dumb about rendering things backwards, as Dave has mentioned. Right, so in fact this string call is going to be very similar to the get string width call here, except we're also need to get the split point. Maybe I'll update this to have a split point entry here. Width and split character. Well, I think I'll give it a different routine actually. I think I'll do it with a different routine because then it'll give us a much easier interface. It does look like most of this text render is becoming just an expose of the text render code, which is not terrible, I suppose. So yeah, with split, there we go. So what we do here is width equal, we don't want just the width, do we? We just want the split point. So what we want is a const. Oh, in fact, it's just a split p. So star split p equals that. Split p. Yes. Is that all we do? Is that all we actually do there? Is this literally just a call down to T render? We move all the code to there. It looks like it, doesn't it? In fact, we'll get, yeah, we'll do this with extra width. Actually, I should probably change the interface to match what we've already got. So this should be message and max. Oh, that's actually width as in the width. Does this not allow us to do a number of characters? It doesn't. The interface is just so inconsistent. Sometimes you're allowed to pass in a number of characters you want to render, and sometimes you're not. It's really weird. And I'm exposing that same thing internally. Oh, yeah, we can fix that later. It's not a big deal. Get a split point, width in OS units, split character, or -1. So we'll just pass these through then, don't we? Width, split, char, and then we return that into split p there. So that's what we're going to do. and we'll put that into the other function. Is there anything special here? When writing direction is left to right, the width needs to be negative. Okay, that's not unreasonable. However, that should be handled by text render. Should it be handled by? Yeah, it should be handled by text render. So the fact that text direction is not supported is not true there. That's the one I'm going to want to call in the other side. And there we go. So that's actually the entire implementation. I feel a little bit bad that this is coming out almost exactly the same, but only a little bit. So now I'm going to text render now, and add an into, oh no, wrong one, into text render here. It does feel like I'm just putting in extra layers, which doesn't feel good. String width with split. Work out the split point for a string with a split with a width. So the split character we use, the split symbol we're using here is we're not going to use the split symbol. So what I'm going to do here is what I'm going to do is quickly open the window because it's got very warm in here. Oh gosh, I'm feeling rather chilly. And now all my things are falling on the floor as well. Oh dear. Here we go. Right. And yeah, so not text off. I don't want text off. I want text render. Text render no split. The no split character is going to be 0. Okay, so by the time we get to this interface, 0 is the character for not splitting. But we will use it by symbol. Put it in here. I've called it text in here. What? How inconsistent am I about these variable names? This is stupid. Or less than or equal to 0 for the whole string. Except that we've actually got can that be consistent, please? Less than or equal to 0 if that's what we've got. And actually for this interface, why don't we say instead it's text render whole string. Actually, what we can 0 terminated. Zero termination. And I'll do that. Text render 0 term. And then what we can do is we can try and make the code more generally able to handle things by not having the -1. We can actually have a control terminated or CR terminated or whatever, because the interface is different and we can put all the logic for that into these routines. And in fact, if we're going to put the code logic into there, static text render convert length int const char star text comma int len. Convert the length given to the actual bytes count to use. Text points to the text string length supplied either a number or text render underscore. That's what we should do. We should do term 0 like that. That's more like it. That feels more like a good way to handle this. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit better about this now. If length equals term 0, length equals strlen text. We will actually call a strlen on it. That's fine. So we actually get the length properly. Return len. If len is less than 0, after that len equals 0. So if you pass it, you must pass in explicitly the parameters we want to use. We're not talking about less than 0 is greater than 0. We're actually going, look, these are the values we're going to handle. So what we can do then is len equals text render convert length text length. And then when we use that in all the places we need to, it will make things a bit more structured. Because when we do it, we're going to need to do it down here, aren't we? Right. So these two routines are very similar. They're sufficiently similar. They probably could be implemented in the same way, but I'm not going to do that right now. What was the call I'd actually got in the... Oh, I've lost it. It's in text up here. This one here. This is the call I want to pass in to text render. String width with split. Okay. Work out the split point for a string with a width. That is our interface, and we're returning a const char star split point pointer within the text string. Right. We call this text. And let us be nice and general in this. Oh, I've copied the routine. That's stupid, isn't it? I copied this rather than... Oh dear me. How is that different? Come on. You're not going to do it for me, are you? Thought you were going to show me the differences. Show diff hunk. No. Int t string render. There we go. Okay, so fine. Let's replace that with. Made a mess of this, didn't I? That's the wrong bit. Oh, I'm changing the wrong code. It's this one here. Int string width. Oh dear, this is. How did I make a mess of this so badly? I think it's because I'm tired still. We were playing quizzes until late last night. Hi Riscos UK. Const char star text int len. There we go. Oh, 2 minutes. Go on. Right, that should look the same now. Does it look the same? Text render string width. Text render. int 32t there. That's text render. Still not showing it as the same thing. Not quite sure why that's not the same. Like, frustratingly, I can't. Oh, I can copy that. Oh, I didn't know I could copy that. Oh, that must be part of the fixes recently. Oh, it is exactly the same. Oh, good. All right, thank you. Oh, there we go. That's quite nice. You can hide that now. I don't need to know the diffs, please. Thank you very much. Yeah, so that's that one. And this one here is going to be this thing, which is a const char star split point pointer within the text string. Right, let's copy the context from this, because this is going to this ought to be very similar, but just a more expanded version. Width equals the width to split at. Split char equals character to split on, or text render no split or none. And we'll be explicit about what that character is as well. So text render underscore t start, const char star text, int len, we will take the length in, int width, and then a split character, which is also an int as well. Okay, so int 32 width. Yeah, if we're using int 32 t's for our positions, we should use an int 32 there. Okay, that's good. Let's work out the length we're going to use. Length is not handled in string symbol conversion. Okay. Should be control terminated. Okay, well, except if it's control terminated, you pass that in as your length, and that becomes the thing we handle here. And so that's no longer a problem here. It's already been dealt with. This gets us the bearing, but we do want to pass in the width. This is the width here. Width, and the split character. Now, so text render no split is the one that we want to use here. So this is split char. Oops. If it's no split, then use 0. Otherwise, use split char. Okay. So that will force it to be the form that the G context requires. I mean, it's a pain in the behind that we're doing these things, but yeah. Am I visiting the show next month? Not a hope. I don't do shows. I'm living in the 21st century where you do things online and never need to see people ever. Maybe that's a bad way of looking at it, but also they said thanks for fixing the hourglass. Managed to get the Slack version in for ISCOS 5 as well now. Nicer hourglass as part of a new theme. Very good. If you have any other like graphics you want to use for hourglasses, you either as GIFs or as sprites or whatever, I can build them into the hourglass system. So if you want something that's a little bit different, then yeah, try it out. It's not too hard to integrate them most of the time. I mean, you're still limited to 32 by 32 ish. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the behind to have to work with that, but yeah, if you find something that you'd like, we can try and throw it in. Right. Have you seen the frosted theme? I think I've seen it on the Riscos Open forums. Looked interesting. not necessarily my style, but I'm very old, reasonably old school. I really quite like the original style icons from original style, the Riscos 3 style ones, or 3.5 to 3.7. Riscos 4 ones are good, but they're not. I actually quite like the folders for Riscos 4. I like the blue ones rather than the green ones. I think the blue ones are much better. Wasn't keen on the change there. And the tooling, I've used various sets of tools, but I do think the standard tooling are so much nicer than most of the others. Although I have seen a few that have very plain tooling that actually sort of fits better with 21st century style look. So yeah, Frost is based off the Ursula style, so yes, much closer to Riscos 4, but with the blue icons. Frosted. Let me just have a quick look. Here we go. Since we're talking about it, Frosted theme. Riscos open forum should come up with the thread, I would hope. There we go. And there's some pictures at the front of this, if I remember rightly. Here we are. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it's got reasonable icons. I think they're a little bit sort of near. The tool style. Can we have full size? Open image and new tab. There we go. Should give me a nice. There we are. Much better. Yeah, not hugely keen on that style there, but the general look here is good. Ooh, that feels bad because it's got different positioning for the cogs. I mean, that's something that the directory icons were always a little bit offset, so you could have a little bit of a to the bottom right, and I wasn't sure that's quite right, but it does look quite good on some things. It's actually not too bad. They're mostly in a similar style. One of the interesting things is for Riscos 4 style, they decided at Acorn to do this plugins and to do those little jigsaws because they were plugins, and we followed that scheme, and it became very limiting. But it did mean you always knew you were looking at a configuration window. So I'm not quite sure that it does things quite as well. Just one of those things. It's changed a bit since that screenshot. Oh, does that mean we've got better screenshots later on? Not that one, this one here. Do we have more screenshots? Ooh, page 2. Oh, yeah, we have different screenshots here. Yeah, definitely don't like the bordering around some of these bits, but then I never really like them. That's actually quite a nice progress bar though. Yeah, bordering there's a bit weird. The double inset one's a bit odd. Ugh, style guide, nasty. Block, line, block. Yeah, yeah. There's some nice bits in here, I must admit. Oh, you have changed it to. Oh, that's a nicer jigsaw piece. Oh, I do like that. I mean, it's kept the styling but lost the blockiness that it became. I do quite like that. Yeah, I quite like that. That's very nice, actually. One of the frustrations we had was keeping everything to 256 colours, or at least 256 colour sprites, because people would still have been using 256 colours back in that day. So it was a little bit more limiting there, but that's quite interesting. Dave fixed up a bunch of the icons because they had little bits on them that had niggles and things, and we had Richard Hallis do a lot of the design work for Riscos 4 to try and add the extra bits that were missing, that sort of brought us in, and then brought us into Riscos Select as well. Richard Hallis has always done some really good work with those. I mean, again, not always agree with some of the decisions, but they were always consistent, and honestly, consistency matters more in an icon theme set to make things right. I mean, I see you've got. If I just pull this up to the front, what's happening? Hang on, what's that? Create QR code for this image. Oh, I just want to see that now. What? Oh, it just creates a QR code that links directly to the image. Oh, that's quite interesting. Puts the little Mozilla dinosaur on it. That's quite cute. Sorry, getting amused by odd things. And these are quite nice. I get a little frustrated by the icon being in a different place on those two. But again, that's an odyssey. Actually, those style are quite nice. Actually, plug-inable with an icon on it. Yeah, fair enough. Lost the bottom of the icon there because of the sizing being slightly different. Frustratingly, it's down to the application though. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Anyway, sorry, I'm easily distracted, aren't I? Yeah, let's return back to what I was trying to do. What was I trying to do? Length not handled in symbol conversion. Okay, text render. We supplied the splits, we supplied the width, and then we tell us the size. Okay, that's actually surprisingly simple. See, in theory, I could just have string width implemented in terms of this, and then we wouldn't have the messing around. Oh, except that, yeah, it's width in OS units. String width is split. Pointer pointer within the text string. Yeah, that okay. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Also, that note we had previously that I've lost. Where is it? Left to right text not hand. We're not writing it yet. I'll worry about that later. Okay, length not handled in string conversion. Fine. And text render no split is what we're using there for nothing. I've got two different styles of comment here, haven't I? Let's try doing this. Thanks for the feedback on the CBC icon. That's fine. Yeah, not new Wimp has adjustable icon bar. Yeah, there's a bunch of hacks in the Wimp for the icon bar that I'm not especially happy with. I mean, partly because they are just hacks, I think. One thing that I was aiming to do, actually I was aiming to do it back in RISC-OS 3.1 time, was replacing the entire icon bar with an icon bar handler module, which then passed that information onto applications. So you'd have an application that handled it. And more importantly, you could then have an application that handles the left icon bar distinct from the right icon bar. Or more specifically, and this is coming into the work that we did when we were in RISC-OS 4 time, we redefined the meaning of the left and the right hand side and the different regions that were used in there. So it's like all the ones on the very left hand side are the devices. The ones in they're basically all things that you can read write, and then you've got the things that are syncs like printers and the like, and then you've got other things that you're controlling like the internet and other devices, and then on the right hand side you've got system control and device control, and then your applications end up sort of middly. And what you could do if you could split these out into different components was you could actually have your devices appearing on the left hand side going down from the top, your system control stuff maybe in a menu in the right hand side, and then your applications appearing at the bottom or the top, or maybe as a pop-up somewhere, and you could have them rendered in a completely different way because you weren't having to do things. And indeed, as Spanner says, there's a tech note for how we actually split these things up to give them consistent positions, and all this was leading towards being able to do that kind of breakdown. and instead what we've got is a little bit of control over the position and putting some background on the icon bar. There's a lack of thought that goes into where you want to go with this. There's I want to do this particular thing, and that's what we're going to hack in. That's the way that Riscos is being written. I mean, I do that as well, I know, but anyway, sorry, I'm being ranty. I'm never going to get any work done if it's an hour and a quarter and all I've done is just like move some code around. This is stupid. Well, it's not stupid. I've been chatting. I'm talking about the design and things, and I've been a bit brain addled. And we've been looking at pretty themes as well. So there's a couple of themes that people are working on at the moment that are quite interesting. I've been only vaguely following them because I don't use them. No, don't apologise. Sorry, Riscos UK said I'm sorry. It's like no, it's fine. It's just we'll talk about things as we come to them because that's what we do here. That's how we roll. Yeah, I was in the process of making these things exposed, wasn't I? So string width with split. I think these routines are probably nearly sensible, but we're going to have to refactor them in the future, I think. Rework them a little bit. But for now, they'll do. I mean, the advantage is we just change those interfaces and all becomes well. String width with split is now this implementation, which means that when we put it into TextOp, we need something slightly different because I've got a different format here. And that's because text render message, which is called str here. Let's just call it message to keep it consistent. Message. I could call them text. Why not call them text? I don't know. But we never pass in the length. So length here is always going to be get split point. I'll need to check what the actual context is here. So let's have a look. Wimp. Oh, come on, type text op. Text op 1, text op 2. Oh, they were extensions, weren't they? Oh, Wimp. Text. Sorry, extensions. They were developed about 20 years ago. Text op 3. No, I didn't mean that. Text op 1 in the library. That'll do. And then we can move from there to get to 3, which is the split point. Control terminated string. Do I trust that? Is that actually what I believe it's going to be? Because I don't think that these are actually consistently. Oh, yeah, I don't think they're consistent. So let's have a look. Oh, it hasn't come out into a separate file. There's a font. Does that handle TextOp? That's the. So you remember when I was mentioned the font changed call? This is where it comes in from, and this is where we're actually setting up the font find font that handles the font changing. So that's how you'd hook this sort of thing in. It's quite interesting, isn't it? And writable direction going in there as well. Yeah, and then the message goes out to the rest of the desktop as well. That's not what I was looking for though. Maybe it's in Noosewise. Always a good name, isn't it? Here we are, TextOp. So get split point. Get split point. Oh, this is calling into it, not documented. All right, so let's go to the source here because I'm not really trusting it. Wimp /Wimp 06. There we go. Follow through from there. Into the S directory. It's in Noosewise. Oh, so very different. Oh God, look at this. Also very different. Text color, paint text. does a bunch of things. System font was 24.8 lines. Yeah, we've used that already. Boom, boom, boom. Calls into font paint. Yeah, there you go. Font paint is handling this as a zero terminated string. System font here handles it as a control terminated string, because actually font paint might not be that, might, because we might have just transformed it and I missed that. Let's have a look. System font paint, yeah, push font string probably does the dealing with that, because push font string is the magic that goes and manipulates the string to add in. It does the Wimp symbol replacement that we were talking about earlier. That's checking for bits which aren't actually like constants, doing the vertical center thing. We'll work that out shortly. System font paint, system font, get text width. 31 is not the width is required. At least they've noted this. They've noted it but haven't implemented it, so they're incompatible with what we added in. So there's nice interfaces that get added, and you try and make sure that you match up with other people. And I'm ranting again. One is points to the string. Yeah, it calls push font string. So these do all the same things that push font string does, which is good. Those are consistent. Can't crop properly with font until the appropriate API is designed. That's lovely. But we know that anyway. Truncate, ellipsis width, text dot get width. So it's doing, yes, doing the plain buffer check, and then we do that. Okay, yeah. And there's a bunch of UCS stuff that it handles there. Oh, they actually use dot dot dot, not ellipsis as well. Yeah, that's good. They do the same thing. Oh, and then if they're, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, yeah, they do a translation. That's what they're doing there. Fair enough. Then they call scan string. Then another replacement to use dot dot dot, which is using the magic value and knowing that it will assign it that way. That's an excellent macro. Sorry, we're into resize string now, so let's not look at that one. Okay. So, right, it looks like control terminated is the order of the day, which is unfortunate because if we have a look over, oh, not that window, this one here. Where's text op gone? I've lost it. I thought it was in this. Was I not looking at it? Text op. Was it in this one? How about? I thought I was just looking at the page. No, I don't want to look at it there. I want to find it in that there, please. Oh, that's a good one. Didn't click on there. Thank you. Text. That was the page I was looking at. Yes. Oh, that goes to Selwyn character 62. That goes to Selwyn character 63. That's why. Okay. Oh no, that says that's what they're saying. It was taken from Selwyn. It was taken from Sydney. Fair enough. Yeah. So here we see it says text op 2 pointed to null terminated string. But if we have a look in the RISCOS 5 documentation, for 3 it says that. For text it says null terminated. So it is matching up with these, but it's just so inconsistent. It's horribly inconsistent. Aha. Sorry, I'm forgetting what I'm doing now. Yeah, what I was doing was trying to get the actual implementation. So this one is a control terminated string. So render text 0 terminated. Control terminated. String width. String width, let's just check string width. Or was it string width I was already looking at? Where's it gone? It's here. So yeah, string width was, that's render. String width is control terminated. And then there's the other two. Okay, just so very, very confusing. If we go back to here and have a look at truncate, fills the buffer with a string, depends on. Yeah, we didn't do that. Didn't really care. I did care. It was hacked in quite quickly and it was not done properly. This is basically effectively the push string. And this one doesn't. This is control terminated. And, oh, it's so awful. So awful, the whole thing. Just start again. Throw it all away and start again. The text render paint should actually have a length then, shouldn't it? Where's my paint gone? Paint. So let's make them all consistent. Int len. Len equals the length to render, or oops, or and we don't actually handle it. And if we go down here, oops, that static function needs to come a bit higher. There's some bugs mentioned in the sub pages, by the way. Okay, I'm sure this will be a whole host of mess in here. Set font. Right, so I'll put that one there, and then we can use the length thing we did here. Okay. So length, and then text paint. I'm using -1 here. When we get into G context, what are we actually using? So in font handling. String size there. String size just passes it straight through to the fonts. It's probably better to look at the VU5 implementation because it will be checking for these exactly. String size. -1 is meaning to the end. Again, these should be in constants. I shouldn't have done it this way. Where am I? I'm in here, aren't I? So -1 means to the end. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to use len here because we'll actually get it as supplied. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. And I've changed this interface now, so I've got to go and put it into here. Len, there we go. And define text render term 0 as being -1, and we'll define term control as being -2, and that will smooth out the interface so you can actually and if you specify a length, you get your length. Term star, okay. Now go back to here and we need to implement the other bit. Just, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Switch len case -1. No, not -1. Case text render term 0. Len equals that. Case text render to control star text is greater than or equal to space text ++. There we go. And then final, that as well. If it doesn't match, then we'll put an explicit default case that handles this bit here. There we go. Right. What next? What next? Should be control terminated, but get string size treats it as 0 terminated. Well, we've already handled this because we passed in the length there. We've handled the length there. String length is not split. Okay. So, how confused have I got? Because I've been working on getting this implemented and then reworking the rest of it. Text direction is not supported. That's now got a length of 0 there. No, a length of text render term 0 because it is 0 terminated. Whereas this one if len equals text op. Oh, it's not defined in there, so define Wimp text op. Hang on, which one? Do any of these actually provide? No, that one doesn't. Sorry, which one was it? Split points. It's a control terminate string, so it doesn't actually have a length in it. Truncate doesn't have a length in it. It's just I think one of these bugs bit me when I was doing tag cloud. Must have been in the font manager there. There's a whole host of these things. It's just frustrating. I don't need that there then. Okay. So what we've actually got here is message text render term control for this one. The width to render into the split character. There we go. Yep. And then the split character is there. And we have no error. Okay. That looks like it's going to do the right thing. I think that's going to do the right thing. Yeah, I think that's probably okay. Get split point is now present. So let's see what we can do with that. Passing in a specific length, but unless the string was also null terminated, it blew up. So the the next character after the final, after the terminating character, when you give the length, has to be valid. And the reason it has to be valid is because when the kerning was added, the kerning has to look at the next character, and it doesn't take account of the fact that there isn't a next character because you've told it not to use one, and so it tries to use it. And if the next character is, for example, a control code, then the control code will be processed, and that control code might do anything, and it might need to continue reading on to try and work out what was going on. And it's just kerning was not brilliantly added. It's not bad, but that particular case broke a lot of things. It's also, the kerning case is the reason why you can't pass in a length of 0 and a pointer of 0, because it will still try and read that first character to work out how it kerns the previous character into the next character, which it doesn't need to do because there's nothing to render. Kernel offler. Where's Dave gone, Dave? You've got a offler graphic, haven't you? Spanners, offler, images. That really doesn't help us. Those are not the right thing. Dave Thomas then. No, apparently that's not at all helpful. Oh dear. Google, you fail me. I don't know where it is. Maybe, or maybe you only post it onto the private channel. Oh well. They were nice. They were pretty. Yeah, tiling off the backdrop. Was it back? If that, maybe that's the thing I should look for. Actually, is it in Dave's space? That's not Dave's space. That's not the one. That's not it. That's not the right thing. Let's have a quick look. He says it might have just been Slack only. Yeah, looks like it might have been logos. Yeah, doodles. Oh, we don't have one on there. Oh well, doesn't matter. Yay! Lots of fun pixel art and the Futurama ones. Oh, Disenchantment as well. I haven't seen Disenchantment. I was intending to watch that. Dave's cool. Instagram. Possibly. Yes, I think you may have linked to it on there. Publishing stuff's hard. Right. I have no idea where I'm up to now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and compile it and see what happens. Just because I've got myself all confused as to what we're doing, because I'm getting easily distracted. Text render line 91. Let's fix that. That's text stop line 91. Here we go. Text render line 91. This is probably my refactoring things that's just broken because I've been shoving stuff in and not doing it right. Yeah, that's odd. Oh, the header file. 91. Is that because of the int32? No, it's because I can't spell text render. Oh dear me. Yeah, let's just go on. Another compile. Oh, even worse. Even worse. Ellipsis width. I thought I put ellipsis width in there. No, in this one, please. Oh no, I didn't put it in. Okay, int32 ellipsis width. There we go. Now in there. Semicolons missing 2 on 2, and then some brackets because I can't spell. Yeah, and then that's broken everything. So 2 on 2. Sorry, what was the problem there? Semicolon. Oh, yeah, I missed semicolon in the line. And then 308. I've got the misspelling there, which has just broken everything from there onwards. Much better. Duplicate definition of width. Okay, and then we've already fine. So 310. This is starting to go a bit weird. So that's because we passed the width in. Oh, and we're returning the wrong thing now because we want to return the split point, which is split P. So const jar star split point. Split point will be text plus bounds dot char offset. No, char offset. Oh, module's coming up. So we can't use it because we haven't actually wired it into anything yet. We need to wire it into the module. So this function here, is that actually exposed into the text.op header? Very sorry. It isn't wired into there because that's not the right function. It's this one here I should be using. Thank you very much. Dave said, bless you. Oh. Dup, 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 dup. Yeah, it looks good. So I'll just copy that prototype into the module and then I can implement it all in the same way. Get split point. Here we are. Now, get split point. Discuss PRM. Oh, it's not in the PRMs, is it? It's in here. Width in OS units. I'll just copy that. So we get the right details in here. Entry goes indent. R0. Oh, they've missed out all the equals here. Equals pointer to control. Generated string. That's what they said. I didn't need to do any editing there. Width in OS units, yep. And the split character. Or it doesn't say what the alternative is. Okay, so in here, the split character in get text width. size for italics, blah blah blah. We'll handle that later. That's odd. Oh, we recalculate the size. No, that's get text width. That's get text width rather than get split point. Because get split point is this one, which is called into the C code, which we've just been looking at. That's the one we were just implementing. And this one in our code, split point here, sorry, uses -1 for no split point explicitly. So we'll document it as -1 for no split point. Okay, kill that. I've been using lowercase. And that's on the output, isn't it? Okay. So there we are. Right, so const char star message is const char star of one. The width, so that's an int 32. In other places I've been using int 32s for the coordinate set. Let me make sure we're using int 32 there. And let me make sure we do that there for that width as well. If we're going to do things consistent, we should do them. If we're going to do things, we should do them consistently. Width equals int 32t 2, and then 3 is the int cat is the split char. Just a plain int. R3. Okay, and then we call this function. I copied it rather than moving it. That's silly. So we do equals. Fingers are not doing good. Really not. T-render message width split char ampersand split point. Const char star split point. And then we just assign that to R0. Yeah, that's a nice easy implementation there. It's wrong, but it's a nice easy one. 159. Oh yeah, that's okay. Let's see what we can get out of this then, shall we? Basic this Wimp text op control terminate string. It's going to be 0 terminated here, but hello world. This is if we're going to do something silly, we're going to do it silly. There we go. That's definitely saying hello world. Width in os units, let's go for 48, and the split character -1 to mean we're not caring. 2. And this is going to be the pointer to it, so we can actually return it into a variable to say what the tail is. Tail is a string. Reason code 180 is not... Fair point. Fair point. Code 3 instead, please. Font manager, scan string. We've been observing your Earth. Fair enough. It's saying it didn't... It's saying that there was nothing that could fit into 48 OS units. That's not... That might actually be true. Ooh. Let's try 128 because weave maybe more is going to be less than that. So okay, 128 didn't work. 256. Yeah, that's not working, is it? So the font manager is being called with the right values. That's the flags value there. Split character is 0. Yeah, I think font manager has been called with the right things. Okay, so let's have a look in text up here. In text render, sorry. So this is string width with hang on, didn't I say that it was -1? It should have gone into there if you didn't have a... I think that's right. Come out. Be easier if I drop into basic actually. Command go straight directly to basic. Now we've made that change. Still not doing it. It's not very nice, is it? I'm confused now. I'm very confused by that. It's not... Text render string width with split len equals %I split equals %I len split char. Just have a see what that gives us. No, I'll exit this and then leave it. Well, that's odd, isn't it? We should have got the debug out of there. Surely. Is debug turned on? Debug is turned on. There's string width. String width is split. Text equals %. Broke that. And we'll just we'll do it right the way up there. That shouldn't make any difference actually, should it? Because it should be coming out either way. Text. Is it possible I'm calling the wrong thing? TextOp get split point goes into TextOp. TextOp get split point calls into this. So text direction not supported. Okay. Oh, you idiot. I'm testing the wrong thing. And it's showing up that I think my implementation in Pyromaniac is broken. Message width. So we'll do that. Right, we'll try it again because that's what's going wrong here. I'm calling the wrong routine. So that is not the same as the one that we're actually doing. Text, Wimp text, render, text op. There we go. All right, let's put this back down to 48, which is what my original test was. Tail is nothing. Oh no, that's still not working, I don't think. So width of 80 pixels, text is that, length is that, split is -1. Okay, maybe the split was the wrong thing. Nah, still doing nothing. It's giving it, it's saying the entire thing would be rendered, which feels wrong to me. No, not that. Font manager scan string. Discuss POM. It's not font manager scan string, is it? It's font scan string. Right. Length of 7 if it's. Where's the return numbers? Oh, it's got no. It's in the block. Oh, I'm gonna have to open that window, I think. URL. Give me the URL. We'll have a look at it directly. Right. Because we need to know what the block is. Here we go. Split character. -1 means none. So I was correct on passing in -1, apparently. And if we go down here into the VDU5 handling, oops, this bit here. Where's string width gone? Get string size, yeah. If it's -1, then call strlen. Yeah, that's not right, but that's because this only ever handles 0 terminated things. Look for the split character. If there isn't one, go here. If the offset is greater than the limit, then we found the place to use. This looks like a sensible routine to me. And then we set the char offset to be the, oh no, that's set to the length. That's stupid. That's both of those are wrong. No, they're right. No, that's right, because it comes in, it says, if we didn't find one, then it's the current string size. If we did find one, and it's greater than that, I'm not sure this code's right. Right. This code is not correct because it's searching it as if it's a zero terminated string. It's not actually hitting the limit. So we're going to need to do something about this. This is going to be a problem. But length here should be set to be at least search p minus so split p minus the start of the string, which is str. That's what it should be doing there. So that's where that's gone wrong. So if we just go and export that, I think that'll fix part of our VDU5 handling. I haven't had a break. This is why I'm getting tired, isn't it? Not one reason, maybe. Still giving me a thing of the end of the string. That doesn't seem right to me. Ugh, it's annoying, isn't it? So here we're handling 0 is no split character, right? If we look back in here in the fonts, when we look at the string width code, it's saying 0 is also a split character, but we're then calling on to this code. Oh no, then we are translating it here into a -1. So that split character handling this is where we should be coming through to. We should be passing in 0. Should be passing in 0. That len is also hang on. Yes. So that's the bit we should be going into there. But we're not passing in a split character of 0 because in the code up here, in text render, sorry, we pass in -1, which I should be passing in 0 there because that's what gcontext handles. Again, these contexts would, the constants would really help here if I'd done that. Okay, come on. Still not doing it right. It's saying that the ending is way out. It's the entire string. Offset equals %i. And just make sure we're actually setting that up properly. Oh. I feel like I've been fighting myself most of this time rather than the actual interface. I think get string size is not working as expected. And if that's the case, then probably we ought to have some tests inside Viscos G context to actually make sure this is working properly. Because if it's not, then there's no blooming point in it, is there? Have a look here, string length. If the string would be, oh, X size, hang on, X size here. We don't use the eigenfactors anywhere, do we? We're only ever working on OS units. We have to handle them here for this bit, but otherwise X size and Y size are in OS units. So length times X size, that's the length of the string if the whole thing were printed, is greater than X limit, then it would be truncated. If the split character is 0, then we chop it down and we say the limit divided by X size, which rounds down, which is what we want, as it says. And the length gets set and it goes into char offset, which is what we want here. If there is a split character, then we need to handle it here. This is not correct because of other things, but I fixed that particular bit of code. I'm a bit confused by this, you know, just a little bit. Because I'm returning that into R0. Is it actually in R0 in the text.call? Yeah, it is. Okay, fine. That goes into the split point, yeah. All right, let's stick a bit of debug in here and see what happens. I could do with some breakpoints. I really need to update Pyro to be more clever. Really need to do that. There's no split point. Okay. Extract %s. X limit equals %i. That's going to be ignored, which is fine. Actually, len, because we've already turned it into len by then. What's this? And split char. Split char! Would you look at that? It's a char. That's probably okay, isn't it? It's an int everywhere else, but it's a char there. because it's 0, so that's fine, but -1 would break. So len x limit, and then split char is split char. Export that. Oh, hang on, we don't have any debugging turned on in this, do we? No, let's turn the debug on so we actually get something out. Then build it, and then we'll run the thing again. Is it possible to feel any more done with this? Then the split character was 255. Split has been passed in as -1. Split has been passed in as -1. And we're saying it's -1. So that char is wrong. That char is definitely wrong. Okay, that helps. Because then we can go and put in int in here and say hang on, no, we were saying that it was right. Because it makes more sense, let us pass in an int there, but we are documenting this as saying 0 is the reason. If 0 is the reason, then let us actually give it a gcontext no split for none. Okay. Gcontext no split. Yeah. Now we have to go and fix up the other side of the code, which is in font. There we go, that's that bit done. And we need to make this into an int as well. And then in here, I don't think there's anything to do in here. I think that's all okay. It's the header that needs to be updated. It needs to be a split character as an int, and then we define gcontext no split to be -1. No split. No split. Okay. So now this is now set up to have something that works a bit better. We should be able to export that. And also remember I should change this as well because this should be documented. No, I'll leave that as I'll leave those bits alone, that's fine. And the same goes for the VU5 one. Okay, all good. Now that's documented. We can go over here and we can then stop that. We can start putting in the gcontext no split. And then we keep the consistency of them actually not having a split point. Sorry, the implementation. go. And there as well. So we've now exported it correctly. We should be able to build it correctly, and the split character should be set up the same way. And we should be getting something that vaguely looks like it's actually splitting us properly. Oh, look at that string size stuff and the like. Still doesn't work because we're passing in -1, which is the correct thing, but split character isn't. Oh, hang on, did I not build that? Let's do a clean actually, and then rebuild the lot. Type disagreement for string size. There we go. That's an interesting one, isn't it? In font. Char there should be an int. I wonder if we've done the same thing here. Yeah, we've done the same thing here, so they're not being handled the same way. Okay, so clean again. Now we build the lot. Implicit cast of put. Oh, this is better. We're actually knowing that there's problems now in G context. Line 90. And that's probably because I don't know. It's probably the font fallback, isn't it? That's probably what it is, because we've got font fallback implemented down here. Yeah, that should be an int. And that should be that. Okay, try again. Nope, I'm going to have to look at the code and see what it actually is. Line 90, font get string size. I thought I fixed that one. Int split char. And the type of get string size. Oh, hang on, that one. Yep, I only fixed one of them. Okay. Relink this side. That's better. Split character is -1, which is the one that means not a thing. Okay, so there we go. 80. Been observing you. Okay, this is looking better. Now, if we reinitialize the module, we should get font version working, and then different place, but looking okay. Right, now let's try doing this with character 32. No, do it as -1, but do 128. So there we go. So it's in the middle of bean. Now if I do 32 here, so spaces, and work. It's got split coming out as none here. It's passing in a none to the split character, which is odd. Does that mean that we're not calling it properly in here? So this would be the font. That's a scan string. Where's string width? Oh, that's not right. String width. Does it get size? You think that maybe having these many different libraries that are not quite working is not helping me? It's possible. There we go. Here's the font get string size. Caching of descenders and descenders. If split character is that, then use split character. Brackets won't make any difference. No, 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 other way round, other way round. If it is the split character, then use -1. Otherwise, use the split. Oh dear, that's embarrassing, isn't it? Right, let's try exporting that. And then run it here. And we should be splitting at the space this time. So give the call. Yep, we're splitting at the space. And if we, as we increase it, if we go to 160, say, we should split somewhere else. Observing your Earth. There we go. And if we go back to be using the -1 to mean no split, we also get space. I think that's just because it happens to have fallen into that position. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, just happened to fall into that position. That's why. Yes, I did actually get an extra character there. That's why. And if we reinitialize the module, we get the font version. And then we can do 192 there. And then we do space. And we get observing Earth. And if we try it with the Pyromaniac version, we get also the same thing. Okay. Pyro is actually skipping the spaces though. Let me go back to this one. So this is with a space on there, 160. This is including the space in it. Which is interesting. Font Manager includes the space, whereas we don't. Curious. Curious. Not going to worry. It's a very minor difference, and we can fix it up in G-context later. I don't think it'll make a huge difference, but I know why it's doing that. Oh, I think I know why it's doing that. So now we've got split points working. Thank you. Finally. That took a while, didn't it? Right. To get this working, we had to fix up a bunch of little bugs. Yeah, there was where I misconverted it. I misconverted it to say it is equal to the cut split point rather than the other way around. And inverted it. Oh, I need to turn the debug off. Yeah, that's fine. So if we turn the debug off in BDU5, then we're good to release this. Status. So we've currently got tags for that. Yep. Fix for split points not working properly in string sizing. the no split character. This broke many things. Now we have gcontext underscore no split. Right, okay. There's still some bugs in this because we're still not passing in the lengths properly, but I'll worry about that later. Because since I'm going to call it a day in a few minutes. I'm going to finish this up. Oh, I need to update the discuss project. Inc to increment the version number. Thank you very much. Yeah, version numbers updated, nice and good. Release 4 fixed string split points. Push that, then tag it with v0.04 and push origin v0.04. If we have a look over here, we should see it running the actions. There we go. It shouldn't take long. There's what's that, 15 and 32 seconds. So we're not taking a long time. Finished. So this one should be running now. Just doing its release. So it's doing the release. We can go over here, find the new release. There we go. Yeah, do that release, publish release. I'll just make sure that was actually built as well. And yeah, we faffed around a bit with this, didn't we? No matter. We've got more consistent control termination. We know about the ellipsis width, although we don't use it yet. And we have string width thing coming out okay. Okay. Oh no, we need to change GitHub workflow CI so that we pull in. Let's build online. We need to pull in gcontext here. 4. There we go. Add handling of the Wimp text pop 3 split points. Split points can now be returned with breaks or without. Yeah, there we go. Not what else to say with that. Internal fixes to allow the text ops to import lengths better. We now go empty. There we are. Okay, fine. That will do. That should now build and test properly. We've got to have a look in here. We should get a build out from there. And fingers crossed this will be successful. Ugh. Nope. Wrong number of parameters. What? Oh, that's because of the test code. We've got manual test code as well, haven't we? Oh dear. Nope, wrong one. Let's do a Samu clean and then build it. And this will check our test code. Maybe I should have updated the test code earlier rather than doing it in the module. There we are. So text render paint now takes an extra length parameter, which we want to use this for. So we put that into main. Paint here should take that there. So we build that now, and actually we can just go and test that. If we go into GOS instead of GOS. There we are. Still got those funny characters coming up. Why is that? Shouldn't that have given us what? Shouldn't we have got some nice control characters? We should have got lots of control characters here. Why is that not drawn it? Oh. That's not working right, is it? Little bit confused there. Yeah, that's confused me, because that should have worked. I think that's part of the length handling that's gone funny. So what do we do down here? When we've called into Font Manager, we've only passed in that many characters. So that's a bit odd. Scan string, empty string, that's a bit odd as well. Let's have a look then. Length, text render 0 and 0. Convert will do one thing, and then length. Oh, there we go. See, that convert has now messed with the string length. We need to get out a different string length because we're not handling it in the same way. So len equals. Oh, this is just going to be painful. We should do this differently. We should return the new text and the new length, shouldn't we? Bother. But isn't that? Oh, that's not too bad. So why don't we just return it? So why don't we say? Oh, hang on, no, not in there. Put it in the header file. We return a Wimp symbol string, like that, and that can be a structure that contains the pair of them. So type Gerph Wimp symbol string is a yeah, really not writing this right. Struct Wimp symbol string. We've got S, which is a const char star text, and a call it string since it's a string, and int len. We also need to pass in the length here, because we need to know how long it was actually intended to be. Then length to process, symbol font for symbols, regular font for text. There we go, that's better, isn't it? Pick up all of this. Oh, I didn't care about the free one, did I? Sorry. Just this bit here. So now we need to change how this is implemented. Add length parameter. Yes, yeah, I left myself a note. So, what's P is greater than this one will use -1 for that. Just curse it for a bit. Else. I'll just do a chemical subtraction there. P minus len. Oh, sorry. P minus text is greater than 0. Is less than len. Sorry. There we go. That's the strings it's going to be. Right, now here's the terminator here. So this is what we're going to be doing. So if len, which is -1, then as long as it's a control character. Otherwise, sorry, you do it like that, don't you? Ternaries. Clearly getting myself confused. I mean, that's not even like any sort of syntax. I thought it would be Perl syntax. Otherwise, P minus text is less than len. I think that'll do the job. Let's sort of see whether it'll build though. It won't, because obviously I've changed the interface, and so now it doesn't work. Yeah, okay, let's have a look at that. So symbol. Right. what we've got is a Wimp symbol string T WSS. Robin will be happy. And that returns WSS dot string equals text, WSS dot len equals P minus text, which we already know is len. Now I'll return it as that because that's what we actually discovered at the end of it. Because we might have passed in len minus 1 there, so let's actually return the length correctly. Okay. And then the same, oh no, sorry, not return text, we then return the WSS. And the string is ss.string, and the length is where do we get the length from? I'm returning a whole struct, yeah. So with APCS, that means that the structure pointer is allocated by the client and then written to. So it's a little bit easier for us to handle. If there was more going on in the struct, then we'd be doing a bit more. But it's easier than passing to two pointers to return into. We can pass them around a little bit more easily. Where's the length gone here, though? So P, is P actually the length? No, out minus ss.string is the length. Oh, out minus 1 because it's actually been I don't need to increment it on the last 0 there. Yeah, there we go. So that should actually be correct now. So Wimp symbol should be correct with its, oh no, it's not. 128 and oh, because out hasn't been assigned there. I probably need, yeah, because it's in that one. So I'll just move it inside the block, which is not terrible. 128, return text. Yeah, there we go. Run out of memory, panic, and return the original string. Fair enough. So to do that, we do actually no conversion. We may as well just go to the no conversion routine there. There we go. And maybe that should be at the bottom. It doesn't matter right now. Illegal types for operands. Is that still true? No convert. What? 77. Oh, semicolon. I put semicolon rather than a colon. Right. I am not convinced that that's correct because I've changed some of the interface and I'm pretty sure that we didn't. Let's just clean it and then see what happens. And I'm pretty sure we'll get, oh, that's the module I've built. That's not the right test. Stop it. Oh, that's because it was building the wrong thing. Oh dear. Yeah, this is why I usually have a break in the middle because I can have a bit of a refresh on my brain. Wrong number of parameters. There we go. That's what I was expecting to see. 249 in a different file, text render. Because now we pass in the length here as well. We don't spend length. We do support length here. We do support the length here. And we do support the length here. But of course, what we're doing here is we're returning a new text, which is not the thing we're meant to be doing. What we need to do here is Wimp symbol. Actually, it shouldn't have been there, should it? New text. Yeah, Wimp symbol string t was there. Was equals Hey Arctic, just about to be finishing, I'm afraid. Text equals was.string, len equals was.len, and new text equals was.string, so we need to have that to be able to free it later. So all of this is a little bit more involved now, isn't it? Nice to see you again. Always good to have our regulars returning. I've got regulars on here. This is weird, isn't it? It's just a bit fun. I didn't really expect we'd get too many people that are outside the Riscossi world. Although I think if people outside the Riscossi world were reading it at the watching this at the moment, they'd be going, "This person's completely insane. This is terrible code." I wouldn't be disagreeing, I don't think, because this is the ideas have been good, but some of the actual implementation has been pretty much a oh dear, oh no, so many bits wrong. We've lost new oh, because I deleted new text, didn't I then? Oh, yeah, dear me. There we go. And that should actually be equals null, because otherwise we don't know. Maybe we should just be using the value from WSS. Might be easier. It might have been a lot easier actually. I've just built the module again, didn't mean to. Because little cast of structure pointer 249. Yes, because new text there, it should be WSS. And I've probably done the same down here. Yep, there we go, done it there as well. Ooh, better. If we now do AF32 dot can we just clear the screen? That's what we were expecting to see. That's much better. Right, now the module version. I didn't clean the module version, so it's not going to be correct. I mean, I shouldn't really need to clean it because it should. No, yeah, it's because of the make file not being have dependencies set properly. Doesn't work. Good. Text op include mod.h. So that's because if we go to mod here, I need to add that in. So too many copies there. Text op apparently depends on it. Okay. Do a clean again and then rebuild. Whee! Okay, I'm feeling good about that. It's loaded. Basic. Do the sizing call. Yep, that looks okay to me. 48. Should be. Yep. Okay, so we're getting tails that look sensible there. All right. What do we do there? We fixed. Ah, yes, we fixed the termination on the sizing on Wimp symbol handling. Oh, I turned one of the debugs on. Let me turn the debug off on Wimp symbol again. Nope, other one. Boop. Somebody beeping their horn outside. Added length parameter to the Wimp symbol. Wimp symbol handling now produces correct strings when given a length and returns a string plus length to be processed. Okay, there we go. Push that. In theory, this one should now pass because I've tested both the local test and the module at the same time. I said that before. Yay, it did pass. Good. Right, so what have we done today? We've managed to get the implementation of the, not the truncation done, but we have got the reading the split point. Didn't test it in 64-bit, so I need to look at that later. Haven't handled right left text, and the text op call is actually implemented now. So I'm going to mark that because I think we're implemented, we're just not fully wired up. So I'm feeling good about that. All right, so let's go and mark that in the status. Oh, and whilst we're at it in the status, I think, no, I can't say I've got that. Yeah, it's fine. Git diff, let's just show what we've got in here, just those changes. Update Wimp text render with the split point handling. So this should have been very simple because I was just lifting a bunch of code that I already had and putting it into the code that I got. But when it came to looking at it, it turned out it wasn't quite as flexible as I'd hoped it would be. And my confusion over the, I'll do a pull then. Rebase it on there and then we can push. Wasn't quite the same. So we got tied up in, I got tied up in the graphics context's understanding of split characters and the fact they weren't implemented properly in the system text case. That caused problems. And then there was the things about having lengths passed in and not passed in, and the discrepancies between how the strings were handled, whether they were zero terminated or not. All of which resulted in a lot of pain that we ought not to have had. It ought not to have been a lot of extra work. But it was. It's fair enough. That's just the way these things go. The result, though, was that we've now got another couple of bits done. We haven't got the truncation with ellipsis done, but we've got a little bit of that code in there. We'll go and implement the rest of that. Not next week. Next week I'm out. I'm doing a large-scale deployment for a place I work. So I will be doing that on Friday, Saturday, and potentially Sunday with a bunch of people. so I will not be in any fit state to do live coding, because my entire weekend will be live coding. We're working on the live site, which is fun. So yeah, that'll be good. The subsequent week, I think I'll be doing stuff, but that is up to for discussion. I will try and post something to say whether I'm doing it or not. If I am, I usually post the schedule by about Wednesday evening UK time, so we'll see. The bits we've got left to do are the bits that are not ticked. So we've got the these bits here, a few bits and pieces, all of which should be very simple, but I said that before. Yeah. All right. Hope everybody's had a good, enjoyable time doing that, watching that. Please feel free to leave comments if things are broken, or if they're not doing the right things. Happy to address them. Thank you for people's comments about the help and chatter about different themes and the like. All right. See you all. Not next week, possibly the week after. We'll have a see. Yeah, have a good rest of your weekend. Bye.